Good evening, everybody. This is January 7th. This is the Budget Committee meeting. It's our second meeting. Tonight, we are going to be meeting with the fire department. And I guess we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Jim Southworth.
Thomas Lee.
John Burrows.
These gentlemen have met everybody else in the audience, so.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to go around? That's a good idea, I'm sorry.
Oh, we can go around. Yeah.
Julie Giles.
Jim Neal. Matt Forrest.
Gary Lamb, Town Administrator. Thank you all for coming.
Okay.
Matt had prepared this blue notebook for you. It's going to be the same numbers that are going to go in the Excel document that you have. You really don't have to look at this document for right now. He's primarily going to use this, he or Lisa and Laura are going to primarily talk out of this document here, so. Matt, you can do that at the podium or where you're at right now, it doesn't matter.
It's a nice binder, by the way.
So, if you open to page 1, should be, you're going to see the summary sheet. I can get to it, it'll be great.
Do you need one from the table there?
No, I got one. The front one is we'll walk you through, and the front is a summary of all the different portions of the budget, sections you're gonna see that we're gonna go through. And it gives you the totals at the bottom of that sheet. So it shows you the total expenses for the last, obviously this coming year, current and prior year. So right now, we're in the middle for 18-19, and then the proposed as submitted for 19-20. So starting in, I can run down through the blue lines under fire 7001 operations. Be the next sheet. The fire side for 001 account has all the wages and salaries in it. The 3 different accounts that we use. And starting at the top on 7001, 105,000 are all the full-time wages. And we've plugged in, it was 2.5%, correct? As a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
So the column on the 1920 represents a 2% on all the wages on the changes there.
2 or 2.5?
2.5. 2.5. And obviously that's whatever the town's moving forward with, and we can change it according to. Built into there obviously is anticipating additional overtime hours for the salary, hourly people, which be the full-time captains and or. And then the additional hours maybe on top of that. And as you see, there's a longevity line in there. That's the longevity step that we get according to the personnel policy. And that's factored in. There's a separate line that goes to each one accordingly for where they fall.
And that's spread out over 6 people, right? Is that right?
7.
7,
8.
Okay.
8 people. And you can see it right there, well, actually, I'm sorry, you're right, 6. Because Laura doesn't have, you don't have longevity yet, correct?
Correct.
And you can see the initials there, so it's 6. The next section down, any questions on that top section? If I was adding the captain slots, those are the shift captains that we had that rotate 24 hours. And they work 24-hour shift on, 2 off, 24 on, 4 off, 24 on, just like keep cycling through. Each one's staggered, and they're assigned to 2 per diem personnel for the overnights in the days.
That allows full-time staff to essentially get the same paycheck every week, even though their work hours are very, very different.
Where do we overnight? The station here?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're based on a 42.5-hour average work week, over a 28-day cycle on the Garcia, and then they're paid overtime, anything 53 hours plus in a given week. And that's week to week, so they'll have to go back and check that in a 28-day cycle. So they're compensated up front for that. Where some weeks they may work more than 42, in the tune of 48, but because of the average they work, so it's basically 42. The next blue section down is our per diem, and that's all the part-time, essentially per diem is part-time. Not familiar with the per diem schedule, the per diem definition of that, but we have hourly people that submit availability on a month-to-month basis, and they're scheduled accordingly on an as-needed basis. And they get plugged in for the overnights, a variety of different hours, either an 8-hour shift, a 12-hour shift, or a longer shift on a Friday night. But they cover and they work with the full-time people. And we bring them, basically we're hiring anybody that has a license and certifications already. And that augments and supplements the call force.
We've added 2 captains in the last 3 years, right?
Curl 2, yes.
2 years, one each of the last 2 years. And the reason we did that is for just what Matt's been saying, so that we had an actual employee here and not just per diem out-of-town folks. They're good people that we hire, but they're not a town employee that can be as responsible as what you might.
Are they almost like independent contractors, is that?
Per diem? No, they're town employees.
But they're town employees?
Yep.
Okay,
They're just part-time, and they may work 8 hours this month, and they work 8 hours the following month.
okay.
And most of them are working for other departments. A lot of the departments do per diem.
Mm-hmm,
And they submit availability on a month-to-month basis.
mm-hmm,
And if they can get hours, they can. Some may work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, depending where they're going. If they work in Kennebunk today, they work at 24. They may work a day shift tomorrow with us. And then they may be off for 24.
mm-hmm.
So we bring them in month to month. And they have no benefits or something associated with them.
And about how many different people do we use?
Between 18 and 20.
I'm gonna probably pepper you with all kinds of things here, because we've got 2 new people up here. You guys are deep into this, and I'm trying to make like I'm a new person on the committee, so we'll be
And
bothered
as they
too
go,
much.
I'll try to throw out some more of that information, because I know there's a lot of them.
It's a good thing, because, yeah, a lot of this is,
And that fluctuates. There can be more people, but, realistically, you have 30 on the per diem roster, if you will. That doesn't mean they're all getting
Sure.
40 hours a week. They're, like I said, it could be 8 hours, it could be a 12-hour slot. And then sometimes the problem is this month, you may not put in for any hours at all. So then, hopefully that month doesn't happen, we have 4 people doing that. But it's happened. So we try to stack a little bit, that we have extra people to pick from for availability of time.
sure.
And obviously, she gets a schedule once a month, or we get it electronically, and she can process it electronically as well, so they see it. And the more availability, the better. We've allowed templating of schedules, so that if you know what your schedule is for 3 months out, if it helps you, it also obviously helps us. Feed that information to her, so when she plugs the schedule in, you can template the schedule that gives us 3 months out. Obviously, the schedule is posted every month, but you're almost guaranteed that you'll see what your schedule will be, especially for whether it's just not just you in Buxton or Kennebunk Wells. I don't know of a department that currently doesn't utilize per diem to some anymore. It's relatively new in the last 15, 20 years around a lot of the smaller volunteer departments. This is our 12th year with per diem in Waterboro, but some of them have just recently started. And they're fighting the decline in the volunteers, which same thing as for us, the decline in the volunteers. That you've got to bring in people from other departments that already have the training.
Can you touch on Limerick at this time, since you're right close by, ideologically, in terms of what they had to do up there, staffing in Limerick?
Limerick, and I don't know a lot of the inner workings. I know that they bring a predominantly volunteer call force department, and this last year they've been working hard to beef up their staff availability, and that's with paying them a compensation per hour, because they were running all volunteers.
And how did that impact us? All volunteers?
When it was all volunteers, it was impacting us with a lot of mutual aid calls to Limerick. We'd be called mutual aid. And no different than any other, if you want to say the word service center, but some of the larger departments over the years have felt the impact before we had other higher license level providers, or different license levels, I should say, that we would call those departments that had them available, so they didn't be driving across the county to come help us out. And we were part of that same game, and we still are at times, because depending on what the staffing levels are. But it would force us to go mutual aid to Limerick. You know, obviously we want to help out whenever we can, but obviously that puts a tax on our service as well, for what we're trying to provide for residents of Conroe. And it's hard, it's, you know, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, the likelihood of a 2 o'clock in the morning, you can suspect that it might be more of an acute or a serious call that requires, you know, rapid transport and definitive care now versus at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, I'm not saying they're all like that, but we certainly get the hangnail calls at 2 o'clock in the morning.
They've added 2 people?
I don't know what
240
they've
up?
added. They've added coverage. I don't know what they've added. I believe it may be 1, and they've substantially increased the call out or an on-call dollar. So I don't know that, but it certainly has helped them.
It's gotten better.
It has gotten
For
better.
us.
And they have a lot of work to do, and it's certainly, without a doubt, it's money. That's the bottom line. It costs money. And finding people today, you know, they see obviously you have 2 vacancies on this board, you know, to meet once a week. Now, we're trying to find the same volunteers to come to help us out, volunteers to come. And the expectation is the first part of the training is we want you to go to class for 8 months, 2 days a week, and then, we want to tap into you for calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not happening today, not with the schedule that people have, with either working 1 job, 2 job families, you know, driving an hour or a half hour, 45 minutes to work, whatever. If they're fortunate to be only a half hour from home, they're probably great and fortunate for that. But if they're driving an hour to work in the morning and driving home an hour, by the time they've got 10 hours in the day, and now they want to see the children at home, or their spouse, significant other, or whatever, they're not getting the permission slip to go out and hang out at the local fire station anymore. We're not hanging out down there playing pool, that's not what we're doing. We're not back 30 years ago. And with what, population close to 8,000, in the back of this packet, I'll talk to you in a little bit, but you can see it, you can take that home, won't go through every one of them. But I gave you information stat sheets. I can certainly get more for you, but there's a fair amount in there now. But between inspections and everyday calls, there's a lot going on. And so relying on a volunteer is a challenge. You know, we don't have 1 call this week that goes a couple hours, where we were 15, 20 years ago. It's maybe 3 to 4 calls a day on average. And you take those 3 or 4 calls a day, and at 2, 2.5, 3 hours for each call, you can chew up a day pretty quick. So your Saturday off at home, or, you know, everybody has just weekends off anymore. It's not a Monday through Friday society that we live in. It's every day of the week. So.
Now, how does the pay work for per diem?
Each license level, or based on certifications, it's broken down to each one of them a separate pay rate. So, for example, I can tell you this. Per diem for proposed for 1920, 1868 for paramedic. And basic is $14.44 for basic, $15.50 for advanced license, and if you're a paramedic, $15.68. And that is also some 2.5%. And
So I think that one's 2%.
2% on that one? Yes, I'm sorry, yes, you're right. And we've been running we compared to Waterboro, Hollis, Buxton, Arundel, and Alfred. The towns we've always compared to locally with per diem rates. And as it always, we probably could expand that and start looking at Limerick, Newfield, and Ashland as well. and Shapley, that they did per diems also. So we could add some others in there. We were originally trying to see, and essentially what was happening was is if Waterboro was at, I'll just use 1353 for a basic, Alfred was at 1373. So we were lower than Alfred in that room. Alfred was 1689 for an advanced, and we were 1457. So what was happening was because every department was accepting or hiring these part-time people, or individuals that were licensed, they were applying to other agencies, and obviously because there was a need to fill those hours, they were getting hired. Well, when they realized, I'm making more at whatever place, it became a challenge for us because we started seeing people with less availability. Well, why they weren't available is because they put in hours in another department nearby. It's payable money. So that's, what was it, 2 years ago, we changed the structure a little bit so we became more competitive. So we really why.
So does the per diem work per call or just to come stay at the
Per diem is
station?
hourly. They're
Hourly.
scheduled for hours, month to month.
Okay.
They submit their availability. And we cover 24 hours a day. It is broke down, the shortest shift is 8 hours. The longest shift is 15 on a Friday night. Friday nights, we go from 4 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next morning, and that brings us into 12 hours. And a lot of the part-time people, part-time per diem, they like the 12-hour shifts or more. They don't like to be, generally, they don't like 8 hours, and we only have a few 8-hour slots available, but we try to keep those so that, because it works for some people, and for a lot of other people it doesn't. A lot of them like that, the schedule of coming in for a 24. They come in, they work a place, and because of their schedule and what they do in their calendar, they may work in 4 different departments. So that's why we go into the 12 hours on the weekends. And then on a weekend, if it's on a Sunday, if Monday is a holiday, we continue that same 12-hour rotation rate through until Tuesday morning. So that it gives that consistency for them, and they know that. So Monday morning at 7 o'clock is the shift change, and then at 7 o'clock Tuesday morning shift change, and then we can go back into 8 hours until the end of the week. And if they want a 16-hour block, they can preference that in the schedule on the online software or LAD tech we use. They can preference that they would like to have a 16-hour block. So if they're driving an hour, let's just say an hour, which I don't even think, we may have one person that's an hour. But if they're an hour getting here, or they feel that they're not just commuting back and forth constantly. They come in under work. Any other questions so far?
No.
Those two sections are probably the biggest sections of the 01 account for fire. And we break it down with employee costs in the next block down, travel and training. That training line is open for obviously all, it'll be separated, you'll see the other one in a second, but between 01 and 02. That's anything that's fire-related training. So, yeah, we're all hazards, so if it's anything with fire suppression or anything that's not medically objective-based. Programs, any programs that we send a call force member to, fire, NDM, or EMS, we're right about $1,000 for the training program. So firefighter 1-2 certification program is just under $1,000, and the same with the EMS program. Actually, maybe just over with, by the time we get done with the books and the licensing process. So they're not cheap programs. So we budget for a couple slots within our numbers. We budget for a couple individuals, at least 2 to 3 people for each program. And obviously throughout the year, a challenge that we have is if we were fortunate enough to see obviously we couldn't support a dozen people coming through that were green, but if someone came through that was really green and they didn't have a certification, then we'll try to consider the program. If it goes above what we've allotted, we'll try to move things around to make that work, because we want that person. The reality is that we just don't usually find them, people with availability,
How long is your firefighter one good for?
indefinitely.
Is it?
Yep. The obviously there's continuing education requirements. There's nothing per se hours with the state of Maine, unlike in other states, but there's other objectives that need to be met on a regular basis. And then obviously the EMS licenses are good for 3 years currently and require CHs at each individual license level, starting at 52.5 hours and going up to, what, 72 hours, if you're a medic. And then we have to keep on doing the continuous training requirements every year so that we can relicense in 3 years, which is another challenge. And that's a big challenge for them. What's that?
Because they want to change it to 2.
Yeah, to go in line with the national registry. National registry of EMS providers for EMT basic all the way to paramedic is a 2-year license. They keep pushing that direction, and eventually it'll probably happen. They've met some resistance, and that's just it's a huge load for a volunteer to find that. Now, I say it's a huge load. It is, yes, but the amount of classes you can do, we do a bulletin board, continuing ed thing monthly. The department puts it out and shares it with us so that we can use it. And you can do a class. You can't get your hands-on practical stuff, but you can do a lot of your other CEHs that are required. So you might get an hour and a half a month. But it's still, it's a commitment. It's something you need to come in and do it. Unfortunately, on the call force side, we don't see a lot of it anymore. We really don't.
When I was on the Leamington Fire Department, I used to go, geez, it seemed like every single month we were doing training.
We do a fire training every monthly, the monthly training for fire side. And it was like with any, over time, a lot of people have been there for a long time. You try to have a program that's going to meet the needs of everybody, but there's a lot of repetition in the fire service. Repetition, it's what it is constantly. You could raise a ladder in a ladders class 300 times or more. You know, it's, and they want to instill that same process that it's, you don't even think about it, you just do it. You know,
Muscle
raising the
memory.
ladder, checking overhead, they want it to become second nature.
Somebody forgot to tell South Portland about checking overhead.
We call it an oops. An expensive oops.
$1 million oops is no, you know.
That's all.
And how many people on the call force?
We have 51 on the roster. 51 on the roster.
And when you do a training like you were just describing, how many, what would be the average attendance?
6 to 10.
Yeah.
And I'm probably being generous in sometimes. And that 51 is everybody on the roster altogether, because a lot of our per diem folks, and we've used that as a retention tool, but even people on the call force side can work scheduled hours for per diem. And so that helps, because we see them coming back out, that we'll see them for the call force as well. So when they're not scheduled for per diem, they may come out and help us at other hours, or for a big fire, or for another event.
Big fire, we had that big one back in June. How many of our call came out? I mean, did we call out the whole department?
For what,
The Asian Taste,
plumbers? Club?
plumbers,
We had a good turnout, and obviously, I say we had a good turnout. I mean, we had yes, so any building fire is open to everybody. All right, if we have a fire, you know, it's, some places call them desk boxes, still, we do the same type of thing. The call comes out and it keeps on getting elevated. Well, your invitation came on that first announcement. You know, you got an invitation to the party, we need you, so we want you to come help us. So we send out those open invites initially to all our people. And the same with our career staff. We don't do callbacks, if you will, with some departments. And we're fortunate that our captains have applied common sense when need be, and they don't come out for the everyday call that can be handled by whoever's on shift and covering the ambulance. They come out for those calls where, let's say, motor vehicle accident within traffic. Okay, you know what, I know they need help, or they know they need help, so they'll come to help us, or they'll come out. The same with the building fire. They know that's essentially all hands on deck. That's, we need you to come down, and they do that. And of course, some of them, they may not be available. Be out of town, or just, they're not available. But generally speaking, we see most of them showing up from the full-time side. Call force side, again, purely based on what their availability is. And we cover such a spectrum on what the availability is of what everybody on call force can do. So we have to be careful, because not everybody on call force can do everything that's required. So they're limited in function for what we can let them do on a fire ground. You know, they might be able to direct traffic for us, but we don't need 30 people that can direct traffic. That's great, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but we don't need 30 people on every call to direct traffic. We need that licensed provider, we might need that certified interior firefighter, or we need the operators. And the operators of the truck, well, I can drive a truck. Well, you can drive a truck, yes, but can you drive a truck and then operate the pump? Oh, I gotta run the pump, yes. So we need to run the pump, but that pump, you're feeding water to people that are potentially on an interior fire attack, that you gotta make sure you're getting the water from point A to point B, so that, one, they come out, because we don't need to lose anybody in the building. So that operator is responsible for a lot going on in that truck, and responsible for everything around it as well, immediately. So you're running that truck at maximum capacity, for 1,250 gallons a minute or more, depending on what you're doing in the application, or you're running an aerial, feeding a master stream, you're relay pumping. So it's not just as quick as coming through the door, and we have to train you, and then we have to train you for, depending on what truck it is, it could be 16 hours per truck, EVOC or AVOC program, and then basic pumps. And
What's that?
What's that?
What's that acronym?
EVOC, Emergency Vehicle Operations Course, required from the state. And then pumps, basic pumps, and there's a basic and advanced pumps program. And then every 3 years, we have to recertify you according to the state in the process. So it's not just coming through the door and hopping in the truck because, you got 10 wheels on it. Let's go for a ride. So
How many people on the call force can put on an air pack and go into a burning building?
we have about 15 on the call force side.
It's not a huge number.
So when you start dwindling it down, you can start kind of whittling it down. It's not a lot of people, and we certainly feel it. During the day, we felt it during the day. During the daytime, generally, there's a couple of call force members that have been very active with us for several years that have daytime availability that come out. And sometimes based on schedule, where people are, if they're free, they'll certainly phone help us as well. But if we have an ambulance call, the first one's generally handled by whoever's at the station. If one of those guys is available, he'll come out and we'll give him a drive. He may drive the ambulance to the hospital, and then we'll free up one of the other people, and we just reallocate the resources that we have. So, if we were to have another call, and a big problem is that those second and third calls, so we can generally cover the first call, and we can cover that majority of the time. The second calls, which are fairly frequent, are the challenges, and we do help. It happens. Our response time to the hospital at Maine Med, it being just under an hour away, you go to Maine Med, by the time you're coming back and doing your paperwork, you're out of town for several hours. The likelihood of another call coming in is far greater at that point. So.
And it usually happens on those days.
Yeah, that's when it happens. And especially if then you're dealing with call-outs or people that, on the per diem schedules, a call-out, they don't have any benefits, they're not getting sick time or anything, but they call out of a shift, we track it, but at the end of the day, they call it because they're ill or a family emergency, or the same issues anybody else calls up for. We try to backfill those if we can, or try to fill them, immediately sending out messages that I can't tell you how many times the phone goes off a week with, whether I need to swap a shift, or we need coverage, or need this. The same issues happen for us that happen everywhere else, and it becomes a challenge, especially at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the guy or gal is supposed to be coming in at 4 calls out. Filling that slot is pulling teeth sometimes, and usually waiting for the wire, and you might fill it. Generally, you fill it at 10 minutes before we end up filling it.
Or we stay over.
Or someone stays over. So.
We just gotta get Laura trained.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I may have gotten sidetracked, I lost where I wasn't here, but training, sorry. So that's what training covers. Supplies, fuels, pretty cut and dry, that's apparatus fuel. It's fuel for all the apparatus. Everything. And Laura does a great job with tracking it we have WEX credit card, so we plug everything in monthly. And you'll notice every number, she's pretty particular with numbers when they come in, so she helps us code all the bills, and she just, all the coding. But we plug them into an Excel document as well, so we can track it and we can see what our usage is, and so that's what these numbers are derived from. Utilities, fairly static year to year, except for the telephone went up a little bit.
We just found out last week.
Yeah, we just found out, so we actually made a change. So the number you have in your document is 6,120. We've plugged in a new number of $6,720. We need to adjust that. The Spectrum went up $10 a line. I think it's because it must come in clearer or something. They're more responsive to services.
Okay.
Heat and electricity. Any questions on those?
Hopefully with a new insulated roof, it'll be in the downward direction
With the heat?
in
Yeah, I would hope so.
the long run.
I would hope so, and we still have the gable ends to address.
Yep.
It'll still be cold space for now, but hopefully we can do that. And electricity, that's for, and we back up, those are for both buildings. We don't separate buildings, so utilities are for both Central and South,
Where's the other station?
Pearl Street and Milk Room. Have you both seen, so Pearl Street, Milk Room?
Yeah. I know where it is, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing, I've never been there, but I know where it is.
Yeah.
Now, what's the one across at the top of South Waterboro, no, not Water, West Road? There's
That's
a-
Ross Corner Fire.
That's Ross Corner?
That's Ross Corner Fire Company. We don't have the numbers yet, but we contract with them.
Okay.
And they submit the numbers to Gary as well.
We do a third, right? We split it in three.
Okay.
That'll be later in the budget.
Between
Alfred Chaplin and Waterboro split their budget by a third, about 10,000 for each town, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the phone, what, is that just, it's not like the phone in the building, or not the cell phones?
That's all phones, that's billed, we have, what, 5 lines?
6.
6 lines.
Well, the EMA is the 6th one, which is separated under the EMA line. We charge it to that line, so.
Our phone system is very similar to what they have here, and the cell station actually does not have a line anymore, we consolidated that. They actually run off from our system, or voice over IP system. So they dial out and it comes through our system essentially. I don't believe we actually have any copper lines coming into the building anymore, so it's all through OTT now, correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's a Dave Blow question, but I don't believe we don't have any fiber lines.
But this number does include the cell phone reimbursements also.
Yes, so all phones, everything we have. And the only reason for the change this year, because of the Spectrum charge, it was almost $60 a month altogether. It
Exactly
was,
60.
so 60 per month between the EMA line and these lines here. So,
Repairs.
all right, repairs, maintenance, and equipment. Vehicle. So the top one is, obviously the largest one is $62,800. And that includes everything for pump testing, pump service, on the apparatus. We have 4 trucks with pumps, pump repairs, hose testing, at 11,000 feet of testing of hose.
How often?
Every year it has to be tested. Test that every year. All the hose has to be tested for NFPA standards and to be compliant with Maine Bureau of Labor.
Takes 2 days? 3 days?
So it can take long, it takes a couple, if we do it ourselves, it would take us months.
Who does it for us?
What's that?
Who does it for us?
We use a company this year Fire One?
Yes.
Was it Fire One?
In Pennsylvania?
And further than that, wasn't it?
I think it's Pennsylvania.
They were down south, they were hauled from here. And these companies, these guys hop in a van and they travel all over the country. They schedule different stops for different departments at a time, and they'll go in and they test hose. God bless them, because I don't know how they do it. But at the end of the day, they've got to be so sore. But they're moving. They're moving the large diameter hose and all the hand lines and testing it and hauling that stuff around. And then they peel it off the truck and then they repack it as well. What's nice about them doing it, and we've gone back and forth with having dollars available because we've had to reallocate. The benefit of having the third-party testing do it is it takes us out of it, the liability, people getting hurt. Because we're service testing this, service tested to the NFPA standards, so you have to pressurize the hose more than what you're gonna use it for at any fire or any event, and let it sit there for 5 minutes. And the problem is during that period, you can have lines blow, break couplings, and you know, a pressurized line that could hurt somebody. So having people that, you know, wearing gloves and wearing boots and helmets and safety glasses, making sure they do that. For us, these other guys come in, they can do whatever they want, and most of them don't wear anything. But I don't want to be standing over hose, and I don't want to be exposed that way. So we have comforter testing. Preventative maintenance in all trucks, inspections, brake adjustments, ladder repairs, corrosion, ladder testing, aerial, and ground. Aerial testing has to be done annually. A lot of the components of what we do every day for every piece of equipment we have requires an annual test or certification, and it requires somebody else to have an input on when we do it and how we do it. And the Department of Labor has a strong opinion on a lot of this stuff. The Maine Department of Labor for fire department standards is 2 or 3 pages long, between the certifications and testing and training and documentation of it. So ladder testing is one of those. And ladder testing is done by a third party as well. UL listed company, Nets is who we've used before. They come up and they actually perform it. And because the aerial is on a truck, it's 100% check. It's not just the ladder, it's the truck. And every component on the truck has to work. So if you have a blinker out, they'll pick up on it, it's a deficiency. Now that's a minor deficiency, but you could have a hydraulic leak on a cylinder on an outrigger that could trigger a level 3 deficiency or a higher deficiency that would put the truck out of service. If it's something minor, not an issue, we can fix it. We have to take a printed report and we have to send it to them afterwards to get certification. But they do multiple different tests, drift tests, and so when the ladder's up, where it goes, what it does, to make sure it's safe. Let's see. We have to do, I did a couple of comments already, sorry. Replacement of tires for both the engines and or small vehicles. We try to take away the new tires every year on the bigger trucks because NFPA says every 10 years. So we try hard to pick away at them, and obviously there's times where tires wear differently. Obviously if tires are wearing differently, we'll try to get the truck in a 80 for the time that we get it. Shop supplies, running equipment, tools, and Hamacho service. Hamacho is our extrication equipment. So we have gas powered and battery operated. This past year we received a grant from Firehouse Subs for a grant for battery operated extrication tools at just over $20,000. That was a great opportunity. And those 2 tools right now are actually located on Engine 1 at South Station. So that gives our substation engine a complement of extrication tools. So if they're on scene first, that we can get a victim out of the car. And they can be used for other things other than just auto accidents too, if need be, with the cutters and the spreaders. And also some boat maintenance in there. Any questions? Building. Well, we could go on for hours on this one. We'll just keep it to the list that I've got in front of me. The $18,420 that I have in there obviously does not cover everything that we need to do. And yeah, I think the board, the selectmen would like me to come up with more numbers for them, but I don't, Gary and I have talked about it. The square footage hasn't changed. We don't have any more square footage inside the building to make any changes or adjustments. This is our normal year-to-year stuff that we, grounds maintenance, trash removal, small tools, small equipment, fire alarm maintenance and service, air conditioning, AC service and maintenance, fire extinguishers for the building, floors, some paint, vehicle exhaust filters. We have a vehicle exhaust filter system in the bay. It's a airback system, not proprietary for specific vehicles. So any vehicle that backs into the building can hook to the system, will be in the system because it's a whole room exhaust removal. And we have a filter system that you put into this airbag to remove the contaminants in the air when you start the trucks up, the protectants. So we have to change those. And those are alone almost $2,600 alone for those. Especially with people, and you can see it, you can see the soot, this diesel exhaust in the bay and the ceiling and stuff, you can see it. And the bay needs to be cleaned and painted. That's a bigger challenge, that's a really expensive challenge that we're gonna look at down the road, that getting everything out and finding a home to put everything to make that happen. Septic pumping and backflow testing for our water system itself. Water district for South Station, because we run off from a well here at Central. Water district itself. Yeah. Any questions so far? Moving on. Equipment, on 01305425. What's that?
I thought you were changing pages. You're changing your detail pages.
So equipment, gear, helmets, turnout gear, the PPE ensemble will wear. Each set's about $2,200. It's actually 19 and change. We've been averaging 5 to 6 sets a year. And some years well, actually, was it 4 years ago? 5 years ago,
We had the 16.
we had a big charge of it. And again, that has to be inspected and serviced and maintained. We have a set that I think we're actually going to have to replace after a fire last month. Or we have it restitched, and if you have the stitching will change color when it gets heat. So when the stitching changes color, it needs to be repaired. So Rob Elliott we've used, he lives up in Newfield. He's been around doing, he does gear repairs from here all the way to New York. So whether he's in FDNY one day and he books out time, we get him to come in and do gear repair, and he's certified with each manufacturer for gear. And he does the testing on it so that we can hopefully make it go as long as we can, but at some point, the inner liner may be junk, or the outer liner. And we'll put some patches on the gear before it's
What's the life expectancy?
10 years according to NFPA. NFPA lays the groundwork for a lot of what we do, and 10 years is what they recommend. Do we go longer than 10 years? Yes, because we can't always get replaced.
Sure.
But what we do is we will rotate the gear for the active people that are going inside the newer gear, and take that gear and give it to, if we have a call for a member that wants to volunteer for traffic control, we give that gear to them. The hard part with us for that is the reflective trim may be different, and obviously if the reflective trim doesn't meet the standards today because it's faded or torn, it has to be either one replaced or just, we need to get rid of the gear. But it's always a morale issue as well, because the gear becomes old, nasty. Done with it, things we need to move on, but it's also expensive, so we try to make it go as long as we can. Waterwood was fortunate back in, was it early 2000? Early 2000 to get a FEMA grant for, I don't know, 40 sets or 60 sets of gear. Everybody got 2 sets of gear, well, at that point. So it was, I think it was 30 people? Right? So it was 60 sets, 2 sets each person. That's great back when you get it, but then as time goes on, if someone leaves, my gear is not gonna fit Tim. Not gonna work. He might swim in it, you put a couple Tim in my gear, but, hey, that becomes the gear, and then the problem is if you put gear on somebody that doesn't fit, it's like wearing a snowmobile suit or snow pants, the cuffs on the bottom drag, or they're too tall, and then when you bend over, your pants come up over your boots, which yes, they come below your knees, but when you start to crawl around, the pants hike up, and now you have exposed skin, so you have potential for burns, etc. The issue is that the gear doesn't fit, it wears out so fast for the individual. It just doesn't last. So you try to get gear that fits the individual. And if we can get it replaced in 3 years, great. We get that gear off to somebody else so that it's usable. But it's not a cheap fix. You guys have probably heard a lot about the cancer in firefighters and the exposure risks. So we've been buying extra hoods. I've got 20 hoods planned for this year. We bought quite a few last year. Hoods are, we won't reissue them, but years ago we did, but we need to stop that. We stopped it. But anybody familiar with a firefighting hood? So those are, we wash them, but I don't need your hood after you've worn it for 6 months. And we can wash it all we want, but I'm all set. But the problem is that's capturing and filtering a lot of the carcinogens and all the exposure. So we need to move on from that. And we've been trying to make steps to make whatever improvements, with a baby wipes on the truck so people can wash any exposed skin, foreheads, anything that's exposed, they can wash. Ideally, they should go back to the station and taking a shower. We'll talk about that later on. But they should be taking showers and cleaning up. On the new truck that we just received our bids on and awarded, we've actually put a shower on the outside of the truck. So we have a shower head on the side, but on top panel.
What do you have in that red bus? That was touted a lot in the newspaper and around town.
I love the bus.
Okay, because I did see it at the plumber's fire. I didn't know, is it working out? I know it's not ideal.
No, the bus is gone now.
You got rid of it?
Yeah, the bus was sold, it left today.
Okay.
Uh,
Why?
Corrosion.
Oh,
We got it used, donated to us from the school district. It was a 2002 bus, and we used a few dollars out of our operation a couple years ago on a motor, but aside from that, it was a lot of donations that we did to get it up and running. So that rehab bus had a porta potty in the back, and the front was basically seats and heat and air dryers, people get warm.
And air conditioned.
And air conditioning, we had 2 air conditioning units. Great in concept, and it probably would have worked if the bus wasn't as old and.
If we do it again, we're gonna get a newer bus.
that was my next question. Is it something we want to look into aggressively, or is it something, oh, look, there's a bus driving by, we can hijack it?
You know what, we saved the air conditioner, so we stripped
Okay.
everything good out of it before we put it out to bid. I've gone online, I've looked at them, and some places run trailers, like 16-foot trailers. And if you order a trailer, and I'm not talking about an RV trailer, I guess similar, but a cargo trailer, dual axle, and order it with a couple doors on the side, you can get the RV style latches so that you can get them. And you can actually put a partition in the back or put a partition in the front so you can put your own bathroom in. I think we could do that. If we were going to buy one that was made for us, we'll probably look at some big bucks. I think it's something that we could look at a trailer for. If we could find an equipment trailer or one of those cargo trailers enclosed, I'm guessing you'd probably go for under $6,000.
But it could be more of a regional or multi-town, and, I mean, we did this on our own.
Well-
A lot of good people volunteering a lot of time.
We did that on our own, but we extended it, opened it to everybody.
Yep.
So when we opened it to everybody, it wasn't just us that thought it was a great idea. But it's hard because just want to have, again, that ambulance call. If our crew's out on a call and, whatever town calls for the bus or calls for it, they may not get it for a few minutes. Depends on who's coming to the station, if they can drive it. But, so when we did it, Biddeford shuttle bus in Biddeford, come up with a bus for Biddeford Fire. They were in a bus. Oh, Gorham's got a bus. South Portland's got a bus. Oh, we got the smart truck from York, which has been around for years. So a lot of these rehab units started popping up in different forms. So we actually, so we still own a trailer, a small one, that we originally got as a grant, I don't remember, many, 10 or 12 years ago from Walmart. They gave us Walmart and Architectural Styling when they were here. It's I think it's 10 feet. It's this small, single axle, and we originally got it as a cascade trailer, for a mobile compressor unit to refill bottles. And once we upgraded our bottles, so it had been 2006 or 2007, we stopped using that because once we upgraded our bottles to 4,500 pound cylinders, that was an old system that we acquired from Maine Fire Training at the time. And it wasn't compatible. It would be $60,000 for a compressor to put in there, so we didn't go that route, and we took it out. And we mothballed the compressor and the tanks. Well, there was no compressor, we tried the tanks, and we refilled the station about. Anyhow, the trailer now has some rehab stuff on it. It doesn't have a bathroom in it, but it has misting fans, a couple propane heating units, and chairs and tables and some water jugs and stuff. And right now it's parked at Alfred Fire Station because we had the trailer, and David and I, were chatting, and they were gung-ho to help us, and they wanted to work together. So Karen worked for Alfred doing for some grants for equipment work, maintenance for other sources. So they were able to outfit with a lot of equipment, and they had the space where they could put it. So it's actually, if you ever see it, it's got our logo on it, it's got their logo on it, it's got a bunch of them from both towns. That's one of the cooperative things that we do that we just make happen.
6:30, we've been at it for an hour.
You said I had all day?
Well, you do.
You have until 6:30?
35?
We can go to 6, well, it's up to you folks. Nobody's coming here at 6.
Okay.
Okay.
So who's next? Board of Selectmen?
Tonight?
Tonight, are they tonight?
Nobody's.
Okay.
You can stay here all night if you want.
No,
I was just trying to give detail from you folks.
And you did, he asked the question, it was a good question. But I also know
All right, I'll move
you,
on.
and
I got it. All right. Any other,
touch on the, I'm gonna, may regret doing this, but we have to talk about the mountaintop.
that's not even,
I know, but radios are in here.
okay, we'll talk about radios. Are we okay with the equipment? Any
Yeah.
questions?
We obviously have a problem with radio tower on the mountain, so.
All right. well,
Touch on that.
This radio equipment here, it does not touch the issue that Gary is referencing. We'll talk about that briefly.
Okay, we can do that later if you want, I don't care.
Yeah, I'll just I'll go over this pretty quick on this. Pages, portables, radios, and repeater maintenance or repeater rental costs is what this is. Pagers are issued to call force members and anybody from the fire. They tone voice pagers so that when dispatch activates the tone, we hear it, it comes across the pager. Portables as well, so we have both. We've tried to streamline and go to portables and not pagers. You go to portables, people, you leave them on battery, they don't need them, they're useless. So it doesn't work. So, any questions on radio equipment? I'll talk about it right now. I know people want to mention it, and I'll forget.
At some point in time, I don't care.
Ospey is a site that we do not own. Ospey is a site that is owned by a private individual that we communicate with and work with. And we have a small stick, or more small guided tower up there, and a hut that's, what is it, 6 by 6? It's small, it's a small closet. It's all we really need, we don't need more space. It's really not in the best of shape, we've done what we can to it, but we're up there. At one point, we had other departments there, we still have a couple up there with us, but we're the essential host, I guess, now.
The main problem with it is,
The main problem is that over the years, when we originally went up there with Star Cellular, if everybody's familiar with Star Cellular from back in the day, it used to be out of Saco, a cellular phone company. That was the gentleman who owned it, his name Bob Carroll. And when he got out of the business, he sold it to Unicell, RCC, Rural Cellular Corporation. And it's trickled down to different people over the years. And now it was last owned by Verizon Wireless. So Verizon was, back in the day, the cellular phone companies were very generous with what they had for equipment to let us use going forward. they put a generator and they'd service the generator, they'd fuel it because they needed it for their equipment, but we always had an agreement with Bob Carroll back in the day, and then they moved forward, that we're there, your essential communications, yeah. We're not on their tower, we're on a separate standalone tower by ourselves. And most recently, Verizon has sold to.
American Tower Corporation.
Not sold, but transferred under an agreement called Sequoia Agreement, but an agreement for tower maintenance to American Tower Corporation. American Tower Corporation obviously is in the business to make money on tower space. We looked at the file in the codes office and with the assessor and all that. It is so convoluted up there. There's so much going on. And we finally got them to agree that they don't control our space, minus the generator and the propane tank, which is two critical pieces. But we don't have any space to put a generator and a propane tank. Verizon would love to donate it to us. They want to give it to us. Makes perfect sense, it's great, there's nothing wrong with the generator, it's big, and it's got a big propane tank. And it's absolutely ridiculous to get rid of it. Verizon moving green, and they want to get away from everything like that. They cannot give us the generator until we have a land agreement. But we can't get a land agreement from Bob Carroll because he does not control that space anymore. That's American Tower space under the agreements they've got. So, we're working on a alternative to, which we haven't heard from the attorney either.
No, I haven't called.
We're looking to come outside the existing footprint, put a new or existing tower in a different piece of real
Long-term would
estate.
be Bob.
That was my next question. Why don't we just put up another tower?
Yeah, so Bob is a nice guy.
Absolutely.
Very nice guy.
Wonderfully generous.
He spends 8 or 9 months out in Italy or wherever he goes overseas. France, Paris, wherever it is, he has a house over there as well. He comes back here for a short time, and he talked to his lawyer, he met with us one time, met with him on the top of the mountain once. And we asked that question, if we could move just to the right on a lower spot, which he was amicable and willing to do. He put us in touch with his attorney, which doesn't seem to return calls.
We hope that happens.
Yeah, so we've reached out to the attorney already, and we're waiting to hear back from them. But we have not had anything for documents, and we basically asked for an easement for the land to be on. If that happens, our first step probably could be is to put the generator on that parcel. Either one, if it's feasible to move the existing generator, okay, it may not be. To install a new one on that lower site, and then make plans of saying, okay, what's our next step? This is probably gonna cost us $150,000 to $200,000 by the time we're said and done with a tower and structure. Several years ago, I looked at used structures, you can buy them, but the problem is access to that site is not the best.
You gentlemen been up there?
Yes.
It's the one off West Road?
To the top of the mountain, must be,
I have not been to the top
all
of
the
the tower.
towers, where the fire tower is.
So if you take right behind, go down to the intersection here and take that road, you go up, when you get to that first tower, which is owned by somebody else, it's okay. But beyond that, you have to walk. We need to plan to make changes.
The road is in very bad shape. It would take hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to go up there. I think it's a recreational facility that's underused because the road is terrible. You'd have to create culverts, you'd have to build up the road so that the road is not the lowest part of the water coming off the mountain. Dozens and dozens of culverts, thousands of yards of gravel, can all be done. And 20 years ago, the road was drivable up to the top there, pretty much.
Has anyone asked the Air Force civil engineers in South Portland if they would be willing to take it on as a 5 or 10 year? They're always looking for construction projects.
Guard,
The Guard.
yep, good idea.
Guard units in the military are always looking for construction projects. Half the time you'll read about these people, they'll go to Honduras, Guatemala. They're the Air Force, they have the airplanes, they have to fly someplace. But if we could find a Guard unit that would say, we could do a mile a year, or 2 miles a year, and we might not. They might say, well, no, we're in Honduras for the next 5
I
years.
think they've done something up there on the fire tower before.
I don't know.
I believe they did, years ago, several years ago. Don't hold me to that, but fairly sure they did.
You can drive up
Okay.
there with a good
So-
four-wheel drive vehicle. Drive right up to the tower.
Under the EMS
Right, but it's
section,
terrible.
It's fun.
moving on,
Are you on O2 now?
I'm on 02 now.
Okay, we're moving to our next page here, folks.
All right, so EMS is obviously a fairly large portion of what we do, but obviously in the structure of the budget, the way it is, most of all the wages come out of the fire side. It's all one budget, I think we need to work on it, see if we can fine tune this and combine it, because it's ridiculous sometimes. First section you see is call pay, under personnel. That's what we pay call people. So the call force is based on different certifications. There's a base, and each time, each level you have, well, if you can operate 3 trucks, you get so much. If you operate 4 trucks, you get so much. If you have an EMS license, you get so much. Each license level is different. If you're Fire 1 or BLS trained, it's different rates. So a paramedic on the call force side could be up to what, 19 bucks?
Actually, one of them just went up to 20, but that's time and service, he's captain engineer.
So, as a paramedic, and with the length of service he's got and the equipment, what he can operate, what he can do, he's well-rounded for everything. That's where you get the top of the scale. So the way that works for the call pay is you're paid hourly for the call when there's a call. And if the call is 15 minutes, it's 1 hour.
Yeah.
Years ago, we had it as the call pay was, it was one rate, didn't matter if it was 8 hours. And that just didn't work, so that's what we do. And the officers, as you see, have a small stipend. Those are that's the call company officers. The call sign. Okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Matt, can I ask a question? I'm sure you have, but I just want to make sure that's where we're going to start at the minimum wage, so the allowance for the additional going up to $12 next year is in there?
In here, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
just wanted to make sure.
It should be like, what, less than $500 altogether, wasn't it?
We figured out right about how many hours, yep.
And we did, so the last couple of years, we've been changing that, the minimum wage impact of that. It's something we need to keep an eye on too, is even on the other rates, and not to go all the way back to that one, but on the basics and the rates, that was, the basic was what, 14 change?
Per diem.
The minimum wage people are catching up to it with no certification requirements, and so why would you want to train for a year before you, we just have to keep that in mind. All right, EMS training, remember I told you, so there's training built into this one, and it's anything medically related, CPR, new education credits, supplies, an online academy. Dues and subscriptions. Maine EMS, state agencies like their fees for licensing. Our affiliate group, Atlantic Partners EMS, they like their fees. They represent us and give us training rates so that we can have training programs through Atlantic Partners. We think they do anyways, most of the time. And any of the other groups that we're required to, Maine Department of Health and Human Services for health inspection. Shots, tests, and work well. Next section. Respiratory clearances, medical evaluations, follow-ups, and immunizations to employee assistance program. We have to do respiratory clearances every year, and fit testing every year. So everybody has to have a medical eval
Fit testing what?
for respirator use. So respirator clearances, we use a full face mask, and we use that for EMS as well. With a filter cartridge, we got rid of the N95 or N100s we used for years, but we don't use those anymore. We go with a full face mask. Nobody ever uses them anyways, but we're required to test for them. Before you can wear that, you have to be signed off from occupational health or work law. So everybody has to be evaluated every year. And anybody new coming in, we have to do some medical eval for. Any questions so far? All right, building office. This is a little bit different, but we have mattress pads. So we changed, so the beds are upstairs, we changed out mattress pads, so stuff like that's in there. There's some office furniture, chairs, lighting, bulb, electrical appliance, cleaning and janitorial supplies, break room, food kitchen, flags, office and building products and that for the outside, water delivery, business cards, and one of our changes this year we put in there was for 12, for staff lockers on the second floor for $1,456. Right now we have 1x1 cubicles in the public bathrooms, which people store their food and their other, because there's no place to put it. We're gonna move them upstairs to a little bit larger locker, which we're gonna find a place to put them upstairs in that day room we have upstairs. And if you wanna come to the station to walk around, look around, feel free. When you go up the stairs, there's a room up there that we finished off back in 2006, 2005. We'd like to put them up there. We need to get them out of the bathroom. I would leave them there, I don't leave them there. And I don't expect anyone else to do.
Yeah.
It's gross.
We do need to have a walkthrough with Tom and John.
We've done plenty of walkthroughs in the last couple of years, we've more than happy to do walkthroughs. So, any questions on that section?
They'll speak up, you just keep going.
Okay. Ambulance supplies.
What's the matter with uniforms?
I haven't got that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it backwards in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Uniforms, all full-time, boots, Class A uniforms, jackets, vests, outerwear, call force, per diem, t-shirts, and hats. So everybody has a uniform, pretty self-explanatory. Ambulance supplies, that is anything consumable, administered medications, so the drugs, oxygen, wound care, anything we have to buy from the pharmacy at the hospital versus anything we use Boundtree, which is a medical supply company, so Band-Aids, gauze, whatever tape you may use, and all of the above. Anything from the back of the ambulance, if the shoe's on a call, it gets replaced. We're required under Maine EMS rules that we have a list of items that, and we're inspected annually. They come out with a truck and they have an expiration date. If you make it, it'd be crazy if you didn't put an expiration date on it, which everybody does now. So now everything expires. So stuff we may not use, or may be perfectly fine, it'll expire. So that goes into the training bin, and we end up replacing it. So it goes into the training bin. So we don't just chuck it,
Yeah.
Right.
we use it
Use it.
at some point. But on the other hand, sometimes when the training bin has, chest deep compression kits in it that are 30 years old, you only need a couple in the training kit. We don't need 10 of them because you may not be using everything all the time. So that's what that is. Equipment section, under 5425, is patient handling equipment, squinting diagnostics, instruments, reusable items, stretcher, stair chair parts, cardiac monitor, preventive maintenance agreement. Anything that we're not disposing of on every call, that we hope that policy we use. Now, some of those things may get broken or need to get replaced occasionally, which understand, depending on what's going on. Our stretcher is not a normal stretcher, it's about $12,000, and that's base model, which you can't get base model, you gotta get the attachments because you gotta get it to put in the truck. So, and it runs on a battery, so it actually lifts the patient, and the batteries, we seem to lift batteries like the Morgan style. Batteries, factory batteries are about $600, so we buy aftermarket batteries, and they're okay, but you gotta replace them, but they're about $60. So yeah, you may replace them more frequently and swap them out, charge them, but they're not the Stryker $700 special battery. Same thing, just labeled differently.
And what did we do between 1718 and 1819 under equipment? We went down $10,000. That was for
Cardiac monitor. That was the first year cardiac monitor lease purchase.
How long does that last? That's it.
Didn't come out of that.
Right, so what's the term of the lease?
3.
Okay,
Really?
so we've got a
Or was
good,
it 5?
even 5, we've got a good chunk of money. We got a good chunk for our money. Okay.
They were 25 grand each, right?
That's, we'll pay for them each year for, I think it's 5 years. It's in the book, we have to check. Do you have that lease information, by chance?
It's in my folder, I don't have it in front of me, but that's what
It's
I'm,
not a big deal.
So, there, it was just under 60,000 for the dual.
It's 5 years.
I think the last ones were 5 years. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
contractual services,
What's that?
contractual services.
Health officer.
Dispatch.
Health officer and EMS billing, according to this sheet in front of me.
Sorry, on one of those.
Must have flipped your pages.
It's on
That's
there.
why you're-
You got it.
There's a big extra monitors, there's a area for your printout, Gary. You've already got the description on the second page of your spreadsheet.
Oh, you're in that document? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I'm using this,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm there.
contractual services.
Health officer for Lisa and Glenn Charette at $500 a year. And that's for town hall.
I may peel 500 out of that and put it in his budget, so don't be surprised.
That's why it's highlighted.
It's the big yellow.
We have two people that can do this. Lisa was, you've been licensed health officer here for how many years?
15?
Yeah. And at times, it's helpful to have the code officer who's in some of these nasty buildings to be able to act right then and there. They work together, and we don't need two being involved in all these situations, but it has been handy at times. EMS billing, what is that?
Billing is contracted to MRS and Wyndham. They do our billing for all patient care reports,
Billing for what?
patient care transports. So they bill all the insurance companies for transports. And we pay them a percentage. 5%, 6%.
Well, towns use them.
And we have subscriptions. We do the annual subscription drive. If you haven't seen them in the mail, you can sign you up.
For what?
Subscription service. What's
For
that?
what? What am I signing up for?
The annual subscription program, which you have essentially a
For what?
supplemental, what?
What am I signing up for?
I'm telling you, hold on, wait. I was trying to speed it up. It's a supplemental insurance. It reduces the cost if you don't have insurance. For transports. Right. If you're a participant with it, then we write off the remainder of the balance if your insurance company doesn't cover it. And if you don't have insurance, it comes out of the subscription account.
And we usually bring in about $18,000 a year.
It's a heck of a deal. If you know you're gonna have an ambulance ride that year, it's a tremendous deal.
Yeah. Okay? And that's the cost associated with it, for printing and postage. Reading intention, meetings, employee events, and retention. The thank yous for the call force and bring them in. You know, we tried going a little bit bigger on that to do an awards banquet, but it's expensive for the number of people, and it honestly is probably not enough. We need to do something different, and we don't do enough of it, because we try to be cheap on the budget for that, in my opinion. All right, any questions? Go on. Dispatch. Pretty self-explanatory. We utilize the city of Biddeford for our comm and dispatch. They're our PSAP answering point as well. 1920, we're slated to be paying them contractually $58,500. And in that whole line, it's a total of $64,410, and that's also some repeater costs as well.
And we moved from the Sanford Center to Biddeford, and the service was much better, much improved.
Yeah, I think we've been there, what, 5 years now?
This is,
5 or 6?
must be going on 4. Anyway, I've been here 5.5, and it wasn't 2 years into it before we
First
started.
year, wasn't it? I think.
It might have been.
Yeah, we've been there for a while now.
Is that?
Yeah, 15, 16, we started with that.
Great service from them, really nothing bad to say. There's some good continuity with, they treat their employees well there. Any questions on that?
Nope.
So I'll just, can I read through our capital, some of our capital? I'll just read through it.
Sure.
So, in the packet that I submitted to Gary, and you may or may not have it in there, I should have put it in there, but We have our capital fleet equipment list. Don't think it's in your package, I know it's not, I didn't put it there, so, but we can get you a copy of that. A couple things that we've talked about, I could talk a while on this, but I wanted to just give it out there for food for thought. Under our equipment, we need a couple different things that we're proposing is personal protective equipment covert universal fire carrier, which is also known as a ballistic vest for threat protection. I had the guys look at me a couple weeks ago when I mentioned it to Gary. We don't have any of this stuff in Waterville. And I said, yeah, we do.
I didn't say
Well,
that.
No, you didn't say it like that. You looked at me like, do we have this stuff in Waterville? Yes, we do. No, he didn't say that. But,
I was thinking about the vest, not the domestics.
okay, we have those too. You know, for the past 4 months, we've been heavily involved in the conversations for school planning as well, and for, heaven forbid, if something happened at a school.
Mass shooting.
Yeah, any type of active threat. But, you know, that's a real issue for us here. We don't have it. A lot of the agencies around are really gearing up this direction and moving in this direction. As much as I don't like the idea, I know it's reality moving forward.
How many towns in the county are wearing vests today?
At least a half a dozen or a little more. Our primary transport locations are running with vests now.
Okay.
So we're running Sanford has vests for everybody. Biddeford is required to wear vests at all times. I know Saco has them, Old Orchard. And yeah, we're talking about some of the larger communities, but we're in that next line. The other day, and I was just really vague with it, but we did have a call, and this brought a realization to me is, if you look at some of my comments were domestic suicidal calls, overdoses. We went to a medical call where it was an unresponsive person not too long ago, and you know, it's just it's the environment. You know that you start thinking about it in your surroundings, and you start applying those, and you realize that the situation that you're in has the potential that it can be far worse, or something could happen. We don't know that, and it didn't. Nothing did happen, but it's real, and it's here. We've had a fair amount of overdoses this past year, so we obviously had to, our staff administered the Narcan, just like any of the communities nearby. But you can go to homes that EMS is called in, we don't have a local PD, and so when our contract deputy is coming, he's either coming from someplace in town, maybe not next door to where the call is, but it's a response time to get there. But we're seeing more and more of the frequent calls where we need to make sure that our people are in an environment that's protected. And not just for ballistic purposes, but for stabbing and any other sharp objects as well.
And I have to interject, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but our two deputies cover 80 of the 168 hours in a week. So a lot of times these folks have to wait for the rural patrol guy who may be in Arundel or Lyman or Parsonsfield, whatever, and come at that point in time, which can take a lot longer.
So we've penciled in $15,900 for the request for up to 20 vests. And that would be for the paid staff that's on shift and for available for per diem and extras. And these vests actually look like turnover. So they look like a fire gear versus looking like you're tactically ready to go in, whatever. But they look like the turnover gear, the same triple trim. They have a large pouch, and they're universal fit, and that's what I like about them. These weren't size specific, and that was a concern that I had. Is that, somebody a little bit chubby, myself, that it could fit somebody like myself or somebody, small, and the way they fit. And
It's what the officers are wearing, pretty similar, right? Without all the other guns and ammo.
Yeah, it's similar to that, but it's but they look like they say fire EMS on them. They got some pouches and stuff, but places you can put tourniquets and some of the things that we've been talking about for the school, an active threat at the school. That hey, even if there was an incident at the school and one of our guys, if we have two guys directing traffic, if there is truly an incident at the school and we have people directing traffic a half mile away, there were going to be a lot of upset parents that want access to that school now. They could care less if it's two fire guys standing in the middle of the road directing traffic. And even one of the most recent school episodes is the child or the student, whoever it was, left the school building after the incident and blended into with the other students evacuating the school, and went down the street and was at McDonald's he was at. I printed an article out the other day, and I get them every other day I'm reading, but Webster, New York had 4 firefighters shot at a fire call. 2 of them died, 2 were critically injured or injured, but, so it's real. But anyhow, moving on, unless you have any questions, just food for thought. Porter Count Fit Tester, proposing to, we bought our last fit tester in 2009, we're required to use it every year. We need to think about it. It is working, we have to send it out for calibration every year. But the unit is, they're phasing out the older units. One of the other units is phased out, it's like a photocopier. Just a little bit more money than a photocopier. So, I would propose that we buy it over the course of 3 years. At just about $10,000 for the unit.
What is it?
Porter Cup Fit Test is for the rest of the fit testing for
Okay.
The air pack masks. You take, you plug it in, and it checks the ambient air around to make sure you have a seal around your face.
Okay.
So that whatever's the environment you're in, nothing's going in. And it measures all the particulates. We need to be looking at the 2007 pickup truck that we probably should not have bought used when we did. We bought a used one, well, we put it originally into the budget, it kept getting whittled away, and ended up going down to a small dollar amount that we had to work with that year. We've had it for 4 years now, I believe. Maybe 5?
3?
3 or 4 years.
3 to 4.
It's a 2007, just under 100,000 miles. It's a regular cab pickup truck, and it's more critical now. I put a placeholder in, whether, I don't know if I put a placeholder of 15,000 for a lease purchase for a couple of years. It tows the boat, the UTV, and the other trailer that we have. It needs to be something that we can tow the other equipment, and it's,
Plus, what's your daily usage like on it?
we use it every day, so the shift captains use that. If the shift captain is on, and depending what the call is, if it's a bad call, the shift captain, rather than putting a fire truck that's, big and on the road, if we can put a small truck on the road, we do that. But we need to go to something that's bigger than a regular cab that you can barely get 2 people in, because all they put it in the front seat now.
It's got some rust, and we were also talking about whether or not we'd pull it over here for the code officer's 4-wheel drive, since he needs that in the springtime infrequently. Our cruiser out here is still running, but it's pretty tired. And rather than get a really high mileage cruiser from the county deputy service, this truck is a possibility that we could pull over here and use for the code officer, get rid of the cruiser that's out here, and buy something else for the fire department.
What about looking into the National Guard? Their vehicles have few miles.
Yep.
As opposed to the active military. We might have to go something a little different than a 2,500, but I've seen vehicles come out of the National Guard being 15 and 20 years old with only 10,000 miles on them.
Hey, we're always open to ideas like that.
I mean,
so,
if we could,
yeah.
and that's when you have to go to Senator Collins, Senator King.
Is that part of the DRMO?
DRMO, you've got to get there before DRMO,
Yeah.
because once it's DRMO, it's gone.
Yeah, and one of the programs that we're not eligible for, it goes to law enforcement, and they were grabbing everything first.
Okay?
That was a
Yeah.
big problem we had, is that and the other program that was part of the federal excess surplus property, the Maine Forest Service administers that.
Yep. And they grab everything they can.
By the time we get it, you get the 1960.
Yeah.
It's a piece of junk. And yeah, I agree, there should be, I don't know where the rest of the stuff goes, but we don't see it. We've been on a waiting list. Years ago, we were on a waiting list over and over and over again for a forestry truck. Never saw any of them. We got a Deuce and a half, it was a monster truck.
Yeah.
We didn't need that, it's not what we needed.
But we can look at those things, absolutely.
Yeah, and we haven't looked at those surplus things before, but good idea, thank you.
And that's one of the things you folks are gonna have to balance in the selectmen too. This truck ideally would carry 4 people and not 2. And we'd like to bring water into the building, we're not gonna talk about that. And, oh, that's in the next calm down, sorry. And all kinds of good ideas and things that we can do and probably should. But last year, the water line extension, which we had in there for 100 grand, got dumped so that we could do the roof. And
But in our priority, it looks like the truck though, for example, is the downtime, the out of service time. It's now to the point where it's critical that we have that UTV for both all season access now with the tracks on it right now for winter time.
So the truck is priority one?
We need to be able to move this stuff and the equipment.
Okay.
And based on our budgeting, in our time frame, that truck is only 2 more years, we're messing with this thing by the time we replace it.
yeah, it's 12 years old, so.
Yeah, so,
Plus
we're,
it carries out hoses after.
one of the next big things is for the building, we've got, and it carries hose too, we use it for all of them. Second floor bathroom remodel, proposing that we do repairs to the bathroom upstairs. We built it, what, 2000, when?
2001, when we did.
No, the upstairs bathroom,
Oh.
2006.
Yeah, 2000.
We need to make it a commercial bathroom. It needs to be,
Mm-hmm.
and we're limited on space, we can't probably go any bigger, but we need to put a new shower in there, we need to get some tile in there, get sheet rock painted and fixed or whatever, and do some work upstairs.
Something you can clean better to the tile effect.
Anything, yeah, at this point. And then, another really important thing for the building is fixing the HVAC system. The heating and ventilation of the building is horrible. AC units are undersized. They were installed again in 2006. Building was originally installed with no air conditioning. We had window units everywhere, and we're starting to get window units everywhere yet again. Window shakers are highly inefficient. And so we've had contractors look at it for mini split units, 8 AC units,
Okay.
to put those in the building, because we don't have ductwork for the areas that we do have.
Remember, when the building was built and designed, there were no overnight guests.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we didn't need air conditioning, we didn't design it for that. 2000, well, it actually started in 98, 99 for the design
They
phase.
moved in 2001, and you had overnight staff starting in 2006, 2005, 2006. So,
Okay.
you know, the vision for the future, it was pretty short, and they only could do what they could with what money they had, so. You do see a water line extension here that brings public water to the fire station. It's painful not having water at station other than the garden hose, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little hard to fill the fire truck up with a
Yeah.
garden hose.
So we gotta go down to South Station and fill it down to South Station, but it's a process. It takes a truck, it takes a person, it takes someone out of the mix of who's available for an ambulance call, you know, with limited staff already on shift. You take a truck down there to fill it up, you're 35, 40 minutes by the time you go down there and stretch the line out and do that. In that, and obviously, if there's anything ever done in the building that moving forward in the future, that would be there in place so that you can tie in for a medical system, which would be required.
It's about 900 feet away to the school entrance on the same side of the road. Same side of the road?
Same side of the road.
Yeah. So it's getting closer.
So, and that would be great, if it come in with us, and that was the estimate with a standpipe inside the building.
Okay.
So that, put a hydrant in the parking lot, or put a hydrant, a standpipe inside, and you can run a 2.5-inch line off the filler truck. You know, so it'll take you, what, 5 minutes to fill a truck, but big deal. It's a lot easier than just to fill it right there.
Yeah.
And you know, hey, it's,
Does that help with hose testing too?
yes, that's huge for hose testing too. Because right now, even our hose testing, because we don't have space, when we do hose testing, we have to shuttle the water to a tank. And then we have to allocate people to shuttle these trucks. It's possible. And there's no room down the south station, there's just no room in the parking lot.
No, there's no room down there.
We did it, a couple years back, we did a few lengths at a time. Actually, remember, there was 4 of us that would go down them during the day, and we started picking out, and we'd start in the front, and we'd wrap around the side and go down by the lilac bushes, where the lilac bushes are, and we stretch them down there. But 11,000 feet, we were there, you'd be there for, you know, we didn't do the LDH of the 5-inch hose, that was at the school, but all the attack lines, hand lines, so, you know. And the rest of the packet is stats and information.
Now, you're not recommending a piece of equipment. We have 4 tankers, 1 ladder, And 2 ambulances, is that,
We have, we have an engine at South,
okay,
we have 2 engines at Central, so we have 3 engines.
so,
All carry 1,000 gallons each. We have one tanker. It's 2,500 gallons. We have an aerial, 100-foot stick with no pump and no water. We have 2 ambulances and a forestry truck and the service truck.
One ambulance was damaged in an accident, we have a loaner at the moment. Can that stay with us until the other one comes back? Can.
So we actually technically own it. We own the loaner until we get the other one back.
Oh, that's right.
We bought it for Bach, but
Yep.
we'll have that as a loaner until we get the other one back. Essentially, we'll have a 2019 ambulance on a remounted chassis.
And we've had 2 ambulances for how long? 15 years?
Since I
In that
started.
early in the 80s.
Much longer than
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay. And we need them.
So that's the next, as far as major equipment, as far as apparatus, is that what your question was?
yeah, what are we looking at? I mean, there's nothing budgeted this year. You're saying that the 99 at South Station needs to be next, I guess? We need to focus next year on the replacement of our 1999 pumper located at South Station. Approved would be built and delivered 12 months after order. And then you had a 98 engine this past year, which hopefully will deliver in 2020.
Yeah, and I'll get you, do they have it in the big packet? They have the big packet, the CIP stuff that I need sent over to Sherry?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna forward you some documents so the budget is.
Just do it budget app.
Budget app,
Yep.
okay. I'll send you some CIP documents, so you can see those as well, and has a layout of all the trucks.
Okay.
And I have a tendency, I like to put little notes that they're ticklers, but
Do you feel we have enough equipment for this town?
today, yes.
Okay.
It's a matter of how we replace it.
The one you're on the bottom of here is the one that we're buying the new one for.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see us adding another pumper. Is that what you're asking?
Just wondered if you feel comfortable with the amount of equipment.
Yeah, I feel comfortable. The only thing that would be nice is nice. The only thing we should really think about down the road is a forestry.
Another forestry?
Yeah, we have one, we've had 4, and they've aged out and it's never replaced.
The age of the aerial is a concern.
Yeah, so, and that's why I want to give you the spreadsheet, so you can see the apparatus age, but the aerial is 1994. So we're at our life expectancy, but we've maintained it, it's in good shape. I say in good shape for the year, and for what it does. I would not advocate buying a brand new aerial to replace it.
Okay.
It would be, we bought this one used, we bought it used in
2007.
2007. And they're gonna cost maintenance, there's no question.
And what did we just put into it, 30?
Yeah, $28,000, we put a collector ring in it, into the turntable. There's a power ring where it contacts, when the aerial spins, it contacts it. And that's what gives power to the tip and does everything for it.
Who does our maintenance?
So locally, we have Mike Frazier is our fleet maintenance during the day.
Okay.
And he does light maintenance work.
Okay.
And bulbs are stuff that's not hydraulic. We don't do brakes either, we don't do stuff like that. And we use Hartford for truck service, for chassis service, Hartford and Sanford. And then we use Greenwood emergency vehicles in Brunswick for the fire truck portion.
Okay. I know that Scarborough Fire, and they have a very large public works, and they do a lot of fire departments. I know they do Wells, Old Orchard, I think they do, they do a couple of others I've seen. Is that something, would we be better going there?
We can certainly explore that.
Is that something we could look at?
Yeah, we certainly could. Most of the time, we haven't found, we did shop that around, we used to use shuttle bus in South. I'm sorry, Stifton. So we used to use shuttle bus, and then some of their quasi-municipal agreement, they couldn't service fire trucks anymore. But we went to them for quite a few years, and then we've shopped around a little bit on pricing and looked at rates, and we've stayed with Hartford, but we can certainly look at the rates. It's probably due to look at that and see where we're at in comparison for shop costs. We use Greenwood for warranty and because they have emergency vehicle techs already certified. And if I recall, there was one of the communities we did a similar review of several years ago. I don't know if it was Scarborough or if it was, I don't remember what. But they weren't, their schedule was so booked, or their availability was a
Yeah.
challenge, that we couldn't get in. And that may have been when we shifted from shuttle bus, I don't remember. And I think Sanford, for example, they used to do public work, but I think they ship almost all of it to Reliance now, up in Vassal Road.
Jeepers, it's a long way to go.
I'm not interested in that. And we go to Brunswick or to Greenwood if it's something specific for a pump or like the aerial. When the aerial went up to Brunswick to Greenwood, they took because the aerial had to come off, the collector bring on. And then they had to be recertified and tested again, which was perfect time for the year to have be done at the same time period. We did it while it was there. But they've worked out really well, they've treated us well. They do offer mobile service, and they can actually shuttle the vehicle for us at times too. So if we know to have an advance notice, we can get them down to help drive the vehicle, which would be great.
But these are the folks we also just bought the ambulance for $1 for a loaner.
No,
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Different company.
Sugarloaf?
Sugarloaf.
Okay.
Yeah, but, so yeah,
Sorry.
so, no, you're right. Well, you made a good point though, but yeah, it's, both of the companies we've worked with over the years, we've had a really good relationship with, and Sugarloaf, give Ron some credit. Ron has, we had a PL custom ambulance, and we got stuck, we looked at options, and we said, we need, this whole process, and we looked around, and Horton, we felt was going to be good for us, because that's what we use for our fire trucks. Well, Horton isn't a fire truck, but it's same dealer. They run fire trucks. They're good with fire trucks. Their ambulances, they sell them, and they do a good job with them in their own world, but we were accustomed to a level of service that we were getting from Sugarloaf Rescue Vehicles, from Ron, that was superior. I mean, just, you call him today, you call him right now, Ron, if we have a problem with the ambulance, and he has a couple service techs that know the inside and outside of an ambulance. He shows up in an ambulance that's like a service vehicle, and he'll have us back on the road in a couple hours. He's great to deal with, and just like with the ambulance accident, he was all over it. He had a loaner ambulance. He was the one to let this whole thing out for us. We told him, this is a month and it's a month, whatever. Don't do that. But he's great. It's
Well, backing up, you gentlemen know we had an accident with the ambulance and essentially, okay,
Was it the brand new ambulance?
Yeah.
yes.
yeah, so we had a one of the, I don't know, 2 or 3 snowstorms ago. It was snowing, and we had a pediatric call. A pediatric respiratory distress call, and the ambulance was on New Dam Road, and the road was slippery, and right by just before the S-turn, and it
Okay.
went towards, I don't know what it was, but there was supposed to be right now. And when it slid, the driver's side went towards the tree, and the only tree that was beside the road is what clipped the front of the ambulance, and it hit right on the front frame rail for the chassis. So it tweaked
the frame.
box. It tweaked the frame enough that the insurance company said, nope, all set.
So we're getting the ambulance box put on a new chassis.
So they're remounting the box to the new chassis, and insurance company covered everything but $1,000 for it, so.
You said the aerial needs to be replaced in a few years. That's 24 years old now. Stay with an aerial, go to a ladder, or a bucket, or a tower, or... We don't have that many tall buildings.
So, you're right.
The aerial, I remember the fire over at Plumbers, that there were 2. Looked like one was a tower and one was our aerial. I think the tower may have come from Sanford, I don't remember.
Sanford
Yeah,
was
it
there.
would have had an aerial tower
They had
then.
an area.
Did they have an aerial? Was it another
I
aerial?
think we had Buxton.
You had a bunch of people there.
There should have been 3, I think it was 3 aerial ladders.
Yeah.
So,
What do you want to replace the aerial with? If that's, and that's 24 years old, if it gets a half-decent amount of work.
I think we need to really look at that, and we need to see what, in my opinion, we need to look at what our mutual aid partners have at that point. Sanford just got a tower,
Mhm.
Now, of course, that tower may be challenging for us in some spots getting around, but I think we need to look around and see where we're at then. What is the development? What are we looking at to meet our needs? I think we've had a tower too. So before we had this one, we had the Mac Rail Scope. So that was a 75-foot bucket, mid-mount. And they have different applications. It's hard to say, but they both have their value.
Okay.
You're,
Just wondering how much we need to budget next year, maybe the year after.
for dollar-wise.
A lot.
We bought that one we bought the one we have now for $250,000.
Okay.
Used, and we got what, 12 years out of it now? And so when we shopped for that, we looked at different departments. We actually, it was an ISO class 1 department we bought it from. Well, originally it came out of Lyle Rouge, Illinois, and we actually pulled all the maintenance records. So we did that for every truck we looked at before we bought that one. And it's been great. As far as, we haven't had a lot of issues with it. And it was refurbed when we bought it. We bought it fully refurbed and repainted. So I would suspect that if we're looking in
More than that.
300, 350, you know, I'm thinking that's the ballpark. Maybe a little bit less. I mean, you can see them. I mean, of course, I've seen them online, you know, $150,000 for a 2004. But the number of hours on the thing, and you do conversion on the mileage for that, the thing's been around the block or around the world 3 times.
Mhm.
You know, big city departments use it for every EMS call, because it's quick, that was equipment, so. There are other trucks out there, depending on how long we're going to get. You know, if we buy a truck and it's already 10 years old, it's not that we're buying a truck and we're doing it for 30 years. You know, we're not gonna run that truck for another 30 years. It's already, we need to prorate that to look and say, okay, how long are we running that for? You know, it's already life expectancy of the truck, and what is the, what's the whole difference? Gavin says, what, 20 years for fire truck? I think it's 20 years, you know, for life expectancy, but we always try to go beyond that, if we can, if the truck's in good shape. So, I don't see the price of the
Other things,
No, I'm good.
what they have? Okay.
What you guys have?
Well, these ladies have been quiet. Why don't you just,
They're gonna start right now.
Doesn't talk.
I know, but why don't you just tell us what you do differently than Matt does? Your own role as deputy chief, especially with EMS. What's your job?
Pretty much running your list, making sure all the scheduling is done, making sure all training is done, and vacuum up.
Do you feel you have enough equipment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I do think that we do need another forestry, at least another forestry though. Just because in the springtime, you get one truck out in the woods.
Matt, I'd like to talk to you offline. I have a large pond. If I could find a bulldozer and an operator, I'd like to double the size of the pond. It's up Deering Ridge Road. There's about 30,000 gallons of water in it. I want to make it about 60. I'd like to put a fire hydrant in it. Talk to you about doing that sometime.
Yeah.
Even though we are water borough, there's no hydrants anywhere near me.
Water can be scary.
Join the club. Yep.
It's, you know, and the whole wild end thing it can be scary.
I'd like to do the same thing for mine, for my brook. I've got a beautiful brook that never runs dry out back, little pond. It's all filled in. I need to get a bulldozer out there.
Yeah.
I'd want to check with DEP first,
Yeah.
because they have horrendous fines. Yeah. My neighbor did put one in, and I'm sure that he didn't call anyone, he just put it in.
It's perfectly legal if you use a shovel. Just can't use heavy equipment.
But before we go here, how often do both of you end up in an ambulance going to Maine Medical in the course of a week or a month?
Oh my God, lately it's been.
I mean, we can come.
Before you answer, we've got the chief and the deputy chief here. I want you to understand this, how frontline these folks are compared to other towns.
Yeah,
You more than he, but
at least 3 to 4
We try to split it, that we're both not going out, whenever, you know, if we can split it, that we're not both stuck on the same truck.
But it's usually the second call.
It's the second calls that come out that, you know, which happen, and if we go on every day. So, if we have 2 calls, or depending on what's happening, we could be on the truck. And if we can avoid going to Maine bed, we do.
I mean, that's a 2 to 4 hour swing.
Sorry.
One other question, a forestry truck. If we were to get another deuce and a half, would that be an acceptable forestry? I mean, it would have to get,
I don't, we don't have a place to put it.
you don't have a place to put it.
Gotta fit through the door, too. So,
Not that big.
Okay.
If we went with, if we had a small mini pumper type,
Yeah,
similar to what we have, we built the one we have now, but comparable, something similar. It's a 1 ton, on a, with a utility body, and we have a skid unit in the back. So we bought the skid unit, a poly tank, and we mounted a pump in the back. We did that for, what were we, how much was that, 45, 50,000? 55,000? So we bought the truck,
Separate from the ski.
were you here for that?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
2000, the truck was in 2013.
13.
Just after, I got here in July of 2013.
We got the truck from Quirk, and we bought the body at Hughes. We had them put on, and we bought a red body, put them together, and we did all the wiring, we did everything internally, and put the pump and skid in the back, and it's good to go.
okay.
But you're right, we do not have a place to store it.
Yeah, that's
What's the building down at the end of the road here, across from the memorial?
Land trust, right?
That's,
Used to
that,
be a
the,
fire station.
it used to be a fire
But it's
station.
owned by the land trust now, and it's pretty unlikely that they would give it up.
We've asked if they're not gonna use it as their office, would they like to give it back? And the president has said no.
It's a one-way trip with them.
I know Governor LePage said he wanted to do away with land trusts and return the land to the towns. I like that idea.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well,
There's billions and billions of dollars
Yes.
tax money being lost to land trusts.
well, they do good work. It'd be nice if their payments in lieu of taxes or pilot payments were higher than they are. In some cases, they're zero, but that's for another time. I don't wanna get out of here before Laura tells us, Laura, what do you do for the fire department?
You name it. Yeah, no.
4 days a week.
Yes, 4 days a week. I actually just started going full-time, like 32 hours in this past July. so,
Yep.
2018, but, yeah, they keep me busy, very busy. I handle the payroll for all 50 of us and all the billing and most of, all the administrative duties, but whatever else I can help with too. Budgeting, tons of spreadsheets.
She's great with formulas.
You answer the phone. These are burn permits all day long in the
No,
season.
that has actually dwindled quite a bit, the burn permits, which is,
Well, I know, but in the summertime, that's not doing.
no, not because that, we have the free online service.
Oh,
now, which a
because
lot
of that.
Towns have
Yep.
adopted, so that is convenient for a lot of people, but there's still, old-fashioned people, like to come to the window.
Careful, careful.
Keeps us from.
I said old-fashioned,
Try to-
Old fashioned. Yeah, we get some foot traffic.
yes,
There's
still
foot
good
traffic
traffic.
coming for the burn, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, it just, people buzz the door and just, maybe sometimes they have questions or.
Keeps us from killing each other.
Yes.
And we don't have,
That's
so
my
when
job.
people come in, they buzz, Sheila, she's the first person they, they'll talk to them from the door, we push them by the
Good.
door, she is.
Yes.
How often do you guys get called, does the rescue get called for like a domestic? Where
More
the
than
police have to,
Wait for standby. It
yeah,
might be
'cause
in the
I
back.
know, I heard on the scanner, it was a while ago, that
Oh, that's right.
the police had called you in, and there was a guy that had a gun, and they had to make sure that he was disarmed before you guys could go up there, but I guess you guys didn't have to do a transport at that time, luckily.
No, because they get incarcerated and they get their own transport by the police.
It's just recent.
Yeah, it
The
happens a lot.
behavioral type of calls, there's quite a few of them.
Mental health is really, I mean, you see it every day in the news, we see it.
What do you folks want to do for meeting times? Obviously, next Monday is good, I assume.
Yes.
But for the week after,
For the week after.
let's discuss that before we go.
Week after,
You wanna
Martin
do
Luther King Day?
You want to do Thursday, the 24th, instead of the
Yeah.
21st?
That works.
That works for me.
I don't care, either way.
Better for you, Julie? Right? Okay.
Okay, so we'll do the 24th. That works.
January 24th, 4:30 PM. So I'm gonna continue to send you folks agendas probably on Fridays
Okay.
beforehand, and I'm not somebody that likes to hold your hand, so I'm gonna assume you come unless you tell me. And if you need a phone call or a reminder, let me know. I'm happy to do that. The numbers you saw tonight are in this packet for the most part. Matt wanted to do this, which is a little more detailed, which I think is good. But we'll continue with that. We've gone long enough tonight, so we're not gonna tackle any other sections. Next week, it will be Public Works, and I think that will easily take the amount of time we have, because we don't have the full 90 minutes. So if you can be here, right on time, if not a little early, that'd be good. And then after that, for the 24th, probably be recreation or recreation and library, and other fillers that I could do tonight, but I won't, since we've been at it for a couple hours here. I greatly appreciate the three of you coming, and the level of detail. This is good, especially for two new members of the committee. And we need to take a drive around town when it's convenient for your schedules, and that would include, you can go through the fire station anytime at your convenience. You can-
Thursday and Friday for me this week is good. Next week, I'd have to look at my schedule.
Okay.
3 o'clock in the morning would be nice.
I can do that.
Early.
A little dark, though. I mean,
3 o'clock is far better than 6 or 7 o'clock at night for me.
all right, Mr. Chairman, I'm done yapping.
Okay. Do you have anything?
I'm good.
Good.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
we
you.
adjourned
We are adjourned.
at 6:33.
That goes in there.
Thank you, folks. Good job. Yes, thank you.